Welcome to the Bait Boys podcast, the podcast that's rated E for epoxy fumes and emotional damage. My name is Jesse with Freek Baits Custom Fishing Lures, and as always, I am joined by my unforgettable co-hosts, Anthony from Lazy Baits Co. and Trevor from Peak Baits. Gentlemen, how art thou this evening?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Couldn't be any better. Very excited for tonight's episode.
Same.
But
I'm feeling a little emotionally damaged.
That's part of being a bait maker. But
yeah, it must be the epoxy fumes in here. But I'm good.
It'll get you every time. It'll get you every time. Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Just wait. Just power through it and it'll start feeling a little better and you'll be fine.
Always.
Yeah. And tonight I am very excited by our guest. We are joined by, well, we know who it is. It's our friend on that end.
What's up,
Michael,
everybody?
Hey.
a.k.a. Baitchuckin.
What's up, Baitchuckers?
The mastermind behind what's probably the most widely used bait pigments, powders, flakes in the garage bait industry.
I wouldn't go
at
that
least.
far. No way.
That's
way.
the biggest one I know of. That's 8-bit baits. But
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. No, hey, thanks
thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
This is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
of
I like
course.
the little podcast y'all got going on here. It's awesome.
No,
Thanks, man.
we're doing our best. It doesn't always turn out great, but we're doing.
You got my attention. Look, hey, I got a cool logo and a dream, so I'm in. Like, I'm. Let's do it, baby.
It
I'm
worked.
here. I'm
You
here
got a
for it. Yeah.
Let's go.
You got a little more than that, but we'll get into that in just a minute. We're going to have a deep dive conversation with Michael here in just a few seconds. But first, we've got a couple of announcements. First and foremost, this episode will, so if you're watching it live, the date is September 20th. I actually looked it up this time. I actually know when this episode's going live. So that means Halloween's just right around the corner. And if you didn't know, we've got some sweet Halloween themed Bait Boys merch that's up on the website right now. We got hoodies, we got stickers, we got shirts, we got all kinds of really cool stuff that Anthony put together for us, and it's up on the website now. So if you want to show a little support for the podcast and get your Halloween swag on, what better time than now? Link in the description.
Hey, and this isn't even going to be October when this airs. So if you're watching live with us, give us some ideas, and maybe I can get some more stuff out before Halloween.
That'll be awesome.
Maybe some
Yeah.
bloody
Leave those-
gooey fishness.
Fishy gooey.
Some
blood.
zombie shad.
Yeah.
Zombie
Hey, there you go. Zombie shads. I like it. But yeah, so that's available now and will be available through Halloween at least. And speaking of the website, whenever you click on that link below, like I know you're going to do to go pick you up some sweet Bait Boys Halloween merch, we just launched signups for a newsletter. We're still figuring out exactly what's going to be in this newsletter. So if you have any ideas of what you would want to see in a newsletter from the Bait Boys podcast, please let us know. But
How
as
about
soon as we
soft
get
plastic recipes? That's what you need. Color recipes.
Yes. Dude, stuff like that would be awesome. That's a good idea.
Straight from Baitchuckin. Yeah.
Did I just
I
make
like
more
that.
work for myself?
You might have, but that's okay. I do that all the time. So I'm glad somebody else is jumping in the fold. But
I'm just trying to fit right in. That's all.
welcome, my friend. Welcome. But yeah, we are going to be launching a newsletter. I won't say we've launched it yet. We launched the sign up for it. So if you would like to stay in touch and get some, I don't know, maybe some advance notice on who our guests are going to be, maybe some inside baseball, behind the scenes type stuff, whatever you want. Let us know what you want to see in a newsletter, but don't forget to sign up. We will not sell your email address to anybody else.
Unless the price is good.
At least not
Yeah.
traceably.
Speak for yourself.
You'll never know it was us, but we'd love to have you sign up for the newsletter. And once we have enough people signed up, then we'll put together something nice for you all to get on a regular basis. But that's all I have. Do you guys have anything that you want to announce? Any other crazy?
Yeah. So this is the 27th right now,
Mhm.
as people are watching this live, because you checked the calendar.
Mhm.
That means the Catch and Wind round 5 ends in, let me see if I can do some good math, 18 days. So that's 2 weeks, 4 days. The 15th of October is the last day. So I'll announce the winner the 16th of October.
Get your entries in.
Yeah,
Get
those,
out there.
those entries in.
I plan on
Please and
getting a
thank
few
you.
in there this time.
Good.
I'm going to try my hardest, but
It only
I had
takes
one
one.
the last time and it wasn't enough. You say that, but I had one last time and I didn't win, Trevor.
I'm sorry.
It's Bob, and Panfish Poppy. They take over. I don't give any of us a chance.
They take over, but it doesn't mean the people with the most entries have always won. Bob's just gotten lucky for some reason. I've had people
That's very true.
Put in 15 catches, and the guy with one catch literally won for the first 3 this year.
Yep. And we've seen that with our giveaways too, because a lot of the people that have won have only, dropped a few comments, and it's, some of them have dropped a lot. We've had a lot of winners. We had 6th in the last giveaway as of recording this, but, it doesn't, you don't always have to have a lot of entries. So you're right, Trevor. It only takes one. And, speaking of our giveaways though, speaking of our giveaways though, we do have yet another giveaway this week, and I bet you can't guess who it's from. Anybody?
Batman?
Anybody?
I have no idea.
CVS.
Well, no, it's not CVS. It's not Batman. And
Not
Michael, you
CVS.
said you don't know, but I really hope you do, because it is 8-bit Baits.
What did I sign up for here?
Surprise! Surprise!
No.
We're putting you right
of course,
to work.
we're going to give away some gift certificates to the 8-Bit Baits website. We'll get you all using the best powders you can get your hands on.
The best.
100%.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
So, if I remember correctly, and now's the time to correct me if I don't remember correctly, you're doing 2 gift cards?
Yeah, we can do 2 gift certificates. Yeah, absolutely. If that's what you want.
That's just what I pulled from our conversation, but it's I may have misinterpreted. But
okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. You see, I tried to offer him more, but he just only stuck with 2. So I guess you're only getting 2, folks. So sorry.
I'm not greedy. I'm not greedy. I just appreciate you being willing to sponsor the giveaway this week. And no, that's awesome. So yeah, we will make a post that should be live as of right now through the magic of editing.
That's
You'll
awesome.
see that appear on the Bait Boys Podcast Instagram.
Somewhere down there, right?
Yeah, somewhere down there. Link, go to it. We'll make sure to make 8-Bit Baits a collaborator on that post, and we will pin it on our side. And all you have to do is like the post. Make sure you're following both the Bait Boys Podcast and 8-Bit Baits, and then tag as many people as you want in the comments.
So easy. Those are like the easiest entry rules ever.
We love to keep it easy. Our first
we're
giveaway,
swing
we made it complicated. Our first giveaway we made it complicated.
Yeah,
we made it complicated the first time, and we learned from that. So as we because we had 9 people that did it. So, but everyone since then has been very, very easy. So yeah, you just got to like the post, follow both accounts, and tag as many people in the comments as you want. Each tag equals 1 entry. So, but there is, just remember, if you're going to tag multiple people, make multiple comments, because our giveaways have gotten massive at this point. And people, if you're putting, I've been forced to use a comment picker, just a comment picker app to select the winners. I was putting them all into a spreadsheet and putting them all into the wheel of names and then spinning it, which I love doing that and it looks fun, but it's not fun whenever you have over 200 entries. So it's, but 1 comment per tag. Each tag equals 1 entry. So don't miss out on this one.
I'm making a new account. I'm winning.
Yeah. And I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but this is worth making a new account for, I would think. I mean, the giveaway like this. That's just my opinion.
It's going to be.
Just make sure you let me know what. Yeah, make sure you let me know what the new account is so I can follow you.
You're not tricking me again. Oh. You won't know it's me. I'll have it shipped to my neighbor.
I know your address, so I would probably be able to guess it, but I'm not, it's
a couple numbers up.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, thank you again, Michael, for being willing to sponsor.
No worries.
That's awesome of you. So yeah, if you all want to get some of your hands on, like I said, what's probably the most widely used bait additive in the at least the garage built space, but I'm sure that there are some larger companies that use it as well.
I mean, what do you mean? Like Lure Works and Dead On and those guys are way bigger. What are you talking about? I'm just teeny tiny. I'm like a small niche like item. I feel like
they're different. They're different.
They're different for sure. There's nothing like it.
There's like
let's put it this way.
Standard, and then there's like premium. Nothing against those other guys, but it's like the I was looking through your stuff the other day. Like it's insane. Some of the what's the flakes called?
The Siren Scales?
Siren Scales.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to get some of those because I want to try something that I think I saw another bait maker. So I'll tell you the backstory. So Victor from Hunlores asked me how I think somebody is doing something on their baits. And I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure that's 8-bit baits Siren Scales, just like on the surface. Like, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, it was like this
Was
awesome...
it Knockout Baits? Or if it was Knockout Baits or Active Catch, it's my buddy Garrett. He's taking crankbaits and he's literally layering Siren Scales like across the back and using
similar
them
to
as
Active Catch.
Yeah.
Yes, similar to Active Catch. So that is what it is then. Yeah, I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, that brings up a great point because I know that the common usage for a lot of these products is to use in soft plastics, but it's very versatile. You can use it on hard baits as well.
Yeah,
that's what I use it for. I don't do soft plastics, so.
Well, I have fixed focused here, so I can't, zoom in, but they're all along the back of the crankbait there. Yeah, they work.
I thought that's what it was.
The Siren Scales, those are more like flakes, so you obviously can't use those in an airbrush, but the rest of the powders are all airbrushable. But that's kind of I don't know at what point I dive into the pitch, but it's like, that's the problem. The flakes and the powders, none of it was kind of meeting the needs of bait makers that was on the market today. People are either using automotive mica powders and getting charged, a very large markup for just mica based powders. And no one was kind of filling this niche. And, because we're using hot plastisol or we're using solvent based paints, epoxy resins, this stuff destroys, PET, which is what most glitter and flake is made of. It can't handle it. So, I went and my goal was let's go source the best stuff out there. It's not going to be cheap. I knew it wasn't going to be cheap, and I knew I was going to get flack for it, but I was just, from where I come from in the manufacturing world, it's like, this is where I want 8-bit to be. I want it to be a premium brand, nothing but the best. And, if the price is the only thing people, I would say, complain about, not that they're complaining, but if the price is the only thing that you can kind of knock, that's how you have a winning product. And it's, and I'm not like I've said on Chris Jones's podcast, like, I don't run any egregious markup. It's a standard business 101 formula, import at X cost, standard markup rates. This is the retail market price. It's the same formula if I was selling into Walmart, Target, Best Buy, anywhere. So it's like, just they're expensive because they're good. They're literally the best in the world. They come from the top factories. There's only 3 that make them. So, but they're unique and they handle the abuse. So whether you airbrush it, epoxy, you could throw everything at them. And, we try and test them, pretty heavily. And I think we had the first mishap with the last few colors of Siren Scales. There were certain brands of plastisol that were a little more alkaline than others. And so it was causing the color the titanium dioxide coating to basically leach off of the actual Siren Scale. So now you get this weird effect because you have the titanium dioxide dye floating in the plastisol, which has its own color change. And you still have the color change effect of the Siren Scale itself. So I put out that video on my channel and, kind of did like a semi-recall, like, hey, if you bought some, we're happy to, refund your money or give you store credit. Hardly anyone came back and everyone was like, keep them on your site. We love it. Just mark that these are bleeding, colors. And so even those ones, like, people love them because the properties are so unique. Like, the effects you get from them, there's nothing else like it on the market. There's people coming in now, they definitely saw what we got going and what we started. So there's definitely, new competition entering and, I welcome it, but there's, I will only source the absolute best and I have no shame in that. That is what I stand for. It's what 8-bit stands for. I take a lot of inspiration for 8-bit from, there's another YouTube channel, Obsessed Garage. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with or in the car world at all, but Matt over at Obsessed Garage, he has OCD. I very much have OCD. And like with him and the way he has a shop and this online store in the car world where like, if he's testing pressure washers, what's the best pressure washer to wash your car? He's the guy who's crazy enough to go out and he's got videos of it. 1,000 different pressure washers. I don't mean like $1. Like he literally would buy like hundreds and hundreds of pressure washers to find the absolute best one. And he's like, this is the best one. This is the one we sell in our store. Yeah, it's $3,000, but it's the best, hands down. It's the best. Money is no object. And so, I come from a manufacturing world where I build and, I come from the gaming world. I build and design gaming headsets for the last 16, 17 years. And so because I've been around so many factories, I myself, I don't like using cheap stuff. I like the best. Mm-hmm. I build high-end stuff. I like using high-end stuff. That's where I invest my money. And if I want someone to use my product, I want, if I'm putting my name behind it, I want it to be the absolute best that I know it can be, because I've been making products for people for years. And so, if I'm putting my name on it, it's got to have a good stamp of approval, Sorry, I didn't mean to hop on a product pitch. You're there. Fine. But you got me on
pitch
a roll.
Away, man.
I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, that's a perfect kind of introduction as far as we like to be inclusive on this podcast. So if someone is watching this and has been in a coma for the last 10 years and they just woke up recently and they don't know who you are, because I'll say this, I don't know anybody. I am stupid when it comes to all of the players in the bait making space. The only reason that we even accomplish what we do here is because these two guys know everybody. And I heard of you well before even starting making baits. So I am an unapologetic Nate Marling fanboy. So that's where I first heard
Same
of you.
Here.
And for years. So, and that's where I first heard of 8-bit, 8-bit baits and 8-bit powders and stuff. And, it's to say that it's, whenever I said earlier, it's probably one of the most widely used, and specifically in the garage built industry. I don't know if it's not really the garage built community. You see it everywhere. Everybody's using it. Everybody's got some 8-bit. I've got some 8-bit. Everybody's using something.
Well, that's cool to see. Yeah, it's very cool.
So to just to, I know you don't like to toot your own horn, so I'll toot it for you, I guess. But if somebody doesn't know who you are and they're watching this, why don't you give us just a quick introduction beyond what you don't have to revisit anything you've already said, but just give us a quick introduction about yourself.
Yeah, no. So my name is Michael. Baitchuckin is my social media handle here on YouTube as well as Instagram. 8-Bit Baits is my company, and we do have a channel here on YouTube as well for 8-Bit Baits. That's supposed to be company focused, but I basically post on my Baitchuckin. That's the primary audience source, so that's where we're growing the fan base. Just crossed over 8,000 subscribers recently. I was telling the guys before the show, I started my channel January 1st of 2023 as a content experiment to see how this style of content would do. And it's done really well. So, it's kind of taken my love for fishing to another level. 8-bit was kind of started out of necessity, because I had lost my job at that time period. So it was like, well, we got to figure out some way to make money. So let's, fire this up. And so now I'm kind of half one foot in the door in corporate America still, and then one half, in 8-bit baits. And the company's grown. We're at the point now where my wife, Amber, was able to quit her job with the move. So she basically is packing everyone's order. So if you're ordering from 8-bits right now, my wife, Amber, is the one packing all the orders. So she's helping out full time and kind of taking over as the CFO, if you will. She's way better with the money than I am. And
shout out Amber.
And, and she's able to work on her book now. So we're just she's an aspiring author. So she's publishing her first book coming up here in November. And so we're just slowly kind of like everyone else, right? Trying to live the dream. So I'm kind of, working, I'd say 2.5 full-time jobs, because of my day job's full-time, 8-bit's full-time. And then you throw content creation into the mix. That's another part-time job between filming and editing. And so it's a lot, but hey, if I can make a living, filming fishing videos and making baits all day, that's the dream, baby. So that's kind of, we're plugging away. It's working so far. We're going to keep on chucking, and just keep going. So
Keep on chucking. I
Keep
love
on
it.
chugging.
That's awesome. Well,
That's
let's
awesome.
take a step back to the baby chucker, baby
Okay.
chuckin, I should say. What you said you started this content in 2023, but when did you get into fishing?
Well, I fished a lot when I was younger. So, I mean, I remember, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. So I remember going fishing with my pops way back at Lake Merced back in the day, trout fishing. Fished a lot when I was younger. My buddies and I in high school. And that time we would, in the Millbury Burlingame area, we'd go down by the hotels at the bay. We'd throw squid out there, catch the stingrays and the little tiger sharks, whatever they were at nighttime and stuff, and just hang out because we had nothing else better to do. We were all gaming nerds, so we'd play video games. And when that was boring, it's like, I don't know, let's go fishing, I guess. And, so we would do that. I was in the fishing club in high school, went on a lot of fishing trips and would go out sturgeon fishing and stuff. And so I always kind of did it. And then I just, college and grew up and it just kind of drifted away from fishing, just completely walked away from it. Didn't have any of my poles or anything. And, funny chain of events. So I forget what year it was at this point, but basically the family caught the kofifi that was going around in the time around 2020. So we all had to seclude. And, so it was I had it and I was over it, but he had to quarantine and everything. So I was there was a reservoir right behind my house. So I'm well, I'm just going to go grab a pole and go fish. So I literally went to Walmart, grabbed a cheap ass pole, went up to the reservoir, sat out there, was casting power bait and a little, panther spinner for 4 hours. Didn't catch a single thing. Had the best time of my life. No cell phones, no email, no nothing. It was quiet. I'm out there with nature. And I was this is the most unbelievable, because with the, as you become an adult, work, stress, everything else, you just get so disconnected from nature. And so I just it re-sparked it. And then it was a chain reaction from there. I bought a pole, 1 or 2 poles, started, going to creeks and stuff. Cause again, everything's locked down. So I'm just kind of going out, I'm getting out of the house. I'm, not stuck behind Zoom calls. And then my wife's parents retire and they go and get a house on the Delta. Their dock is the backyard, it's on the water. And so of course we go there and now they're on the water and it's not, I don't know, maybe 2 months later, I had a jet ski out there and then I had the jet ski and the jet ski's fun. And then I went about 3 months with the jet ski and I'm I need a boat. I was fishing. I was fishing, literally, I was fishing on the back of the jet ski. I had the ice chest converted. I had my little yak pack, box on the back and rod holders. And I'm out there in the Delta. These guys are all on bass boats. So here I'm on my Sea-Doo out there, just casting away, just fishing. And everyone's, laughing and pointing. And it was so within the span of a year, it less than a year, it went from haven't not fished in, I don't know, 15, 20, maybe 30 years to all of a sudden, in less than a year owning a boat. And so it just caught back up and it's snowballed ever since. And this is it truly is my medicine. Being out on the water for me is my escape. And I know everyone who fishes, we all share kind of that same, you get out there, you just shut off from tech and it's just you, your fishing partner, or if you're bank fishing, it's just you strolling, up and down, burning bank, and it's just nature. And it's just, it's so healing and peaceful. I can't even, I don't know how to put it into words, and the best way I describe it to my wife, I'm it's kind of like playing the slot machine because, you throw it out there. And so there's a skill set to it, right? You got to know where the fish are at first. How am I going to fish it? How am I going to work it? So there's this whole, almost like a video game, right? A skill thing. And then you catch one and you don't know if it's a giant or not. Because how many times does it feel like it's the biggest fish ever? And then you pull up this little dink, but then you pull up that giant though. And then it's just it's the most euphoric thing ever, look, I am man. I have caught fish. Look what I've done, it's the dumbest thing, but it's the most rewarding thing ever. I don't know. I love it. So that's.
Yeah, I think pretty much anybody, well, I know the three of us, but anybody watching this can probably relate too. It's better than therapy. I've tried both. Fishing's way better. Yeah. Fishing's way better.
It's better than medication too. Just get out there and touch the grass, touch the water.
The outside. I've always said that. Couldn't agree more. But so let's up the timeline a little bit. And I know you alluded to it a little bit earlier. You started Baitchuckin as a bit of an experiment, a content experiment. But had you started making baits before the experiment came, or was it kind of cohesive in when they started? Yeah. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure. Well, I don't know if you can see. Well, you probably can't see it behind me, but there was a point in time where it's up there. Yeah, I was Chris Jones's best customer for probably a whole summer. I probably have over $1,000 worth of Chris Jones baits hanging on my wall up there. So thank you, Chris, for getting me addicted to the most addicting hobby in the world. No, but it was like, YouTube algorithm at work here, like just was watching fishing videos, tactical bass and whatever, trying to, watching Nate, trying to figure out like, okay, where are the fish at? What's working? What's not working? And it just started feeding me, probably because I was watching Nate, who's a bait maker. I was watching his channel. It's just more for the like, I don't know, there's a certain calmness, and like entertainment level to his videos. So probably because I was watching that, it would feed me the, Chris's videos, and I would watch all Chris's videos. And I was like, this isn't hard. Like, it's not hard. And, I fished the California Delta, and, I'm throwing the same baits that, they're talking super highly pressured water. There's 100 fishermen in front of me, all throwing the same sweet beaver from the same, 12 colors available at the local tackle shop. And the local guys, they're all going to the same two shops, and they're all selling the same colors. The fish have seen it all. And it's like, well, yeah, how do I differentiate? Well, I got to make it myself, and then it's like, wait, I can get like replica molds of my favorite baits, or these other baits that like are actually different and don't, like, no one even has these baits, like, and then you buy one mold and an injector and the next one, and it just spirals out of control. And then, like I said, I started as an experiment. I said, like, I can do videos. I used to do content before, for other things. Like, let me take a shot at this bait making. I got some cool colors I can do. I got, cool stuff. And I just, I wanted to be a part of the community. And I started, making videos as an experiment, not only for the content, but also like, that was my way of like entering into the community. And I think because I had done content in the past, I think it was very easy for me to relate to some of the challenges with some of the other content creators. So, and as I started to grow, my first video was obviously dedicated to Chris, which got his attention. And we started chatting on Instagram. And then, I started talking more like Adam at SDG and Bobby, and meeting people through working with Epic Bait Molds, and, and just slowly become a part of the community, like, cause I'm in it just like you guys here, and I'm just a dude in his garage making baits like everyone else, trying to run a garage company. And, I've been fortunate enough to, get a boost with 8-Bit because I was a part of the community first. So what I'm like, hey, like, guys, I'm trying to do this thing. You want to help out? And, I have a group of other, people, bait makers, content creators that were willing to help out. So, the powders are great, but I owe a lot to, all the other YouTube creators out there, making videos using 8-Bit. Like, some of that stuff is all stuff I've sent to people. There's a lot of channels that just use it on their own, and I can't thank all of you, my content team, as well as like the people randomly posting videos, because it's word of mouth is the best, marketing tool you have. So I just was like, here, what do you guys think? I mean, they're expensive, but like, what do you think? And they've taken off because they're very unique. They have very unique properties. Yeah. But I can't take credit. A lot of that is due to the community, everyone out there. I mean, all of us on YouTube, right? Like, we wouldn't have the subscriber base if it wasn't for the viewership. And that's what I've learned over the years is content creation. So there's definitely a loyalty there to, my subscriber base, the subscriber base of all of my friends. When we're collabing on videos, there's a lot of back and forth because the audiences are very different. As you guys know, right? You guys got 3 audiences blending together here to come watch Bait Boys. And then I'll bring my audience over to come watch this episode, and so that's how we got to commingle, keep it going, get this is what the community is all about, doing this stuff here. Yeah,
and exactly why we
I
started.
applaud
this.
you
Yep.
guys for doing the podcast, because this is something I think I've told you offline, Jesse. Like, I'd love to do. I try and do it with Chris when I can make it on his episodes. I just don't have the time to dedicate at the moment. If I would, I'd be right here with all y'all. So I champion you. You take the torch and go lead us all.
We're trying.
This
I don't know that we can be trusted
community.
with fire. Yeah. I don't know that any of us can be trusted with fire, but we appreciate it. And yeah, that's exactly why we started this. We talked about it ahead of time. It's like, we just need something that everybody can come to, to meet. Like, we can put other bait makers and, like, just like you said, I can't think of a better way to say it than you said it. So yeah, just combining the audiences and cross-pollinating the audiences and helping everybody in the community that wants to be helped. Some people don't, and that's fine. They want to do it on their own. They want to be an island, and I respect that. But it's, we've met more people than not that are 100% about, like, yeah, we all look good together, we all look bad together, right? Like, we can all lift each other up, and it's not taking anything away from any single one of us. So we completely agree. No, that's great.
Jesse, I think the consensus when we started was between the three of us, like, who wouldn't want to talk about our favorite hobby? Like, between us, and then we've just been finding other people to bring in and have them talk about our favorite hobby every week with us. And then, our community, our follower base is growing, but yeah, it's something we all enjoy. And it's like you said, for the most part, everybody responds well to it, and, bounces ideas around and
it's great
learn
long
something
form
from
content
us, or
too.
we learn from them.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was saying it's great long form content. Like a lot of us are in our shops. So, I don't know about you guys, but like, I'll either find, I don't know, like a Marling playlist or Adam's channel or something, or like I'll listen to, am I missing any episodes of the Bilge podcast? Just like anything long form. Because when I'm making baits, like, you go in to sit down and make baits, that's an hour and a half, 2-hour session. So you don't want to be like every 10 minutes going back to the PC or on the TV, like clicking the video. So like, yeah, you just drop a podcast on, like, oh, Bait Boy, sweet. I don't have to worry about it for another 90 minutes. Boom. You can just chill, like just zone out and listen to it and make baits and do whatever, So it's great long form content. So I like how you guys chop it up too. It's nice.
Yeah, well, we want to reach anybody that we can, and a lot of people like the short form stuff. So we want to put out there as much as we can as well to help the people that are crazy enough to come hang out with us. Expand their audience as well.
God bless you, because I hate the short form content. I can't do it.
It's not fun. I don't enjoy it, but it's it's a necessary evil one of these days. But no, that's great. So, and speaking of the content creators and stuff that you work with, you've mentioned Epic Bait Molds, and I know that I said earlier, like I first heard of you from one of Nate's videos, well, several of Nate's videos, but I will say, just to kind of add to your
well, to caveat that, by the way, like I will say, I'm very appreciative of Nate. I mean, Nate's done wonderful things for promoting 8-Bit. But like, I just send stuff over. If he uses it, fantastic. If not, I don't coordinate or work with it. I don't want people to, I'm grateful to everyone, but that's same with everyone. I just send stuff. I'm like, here you go. Like, no obligation, but like, if you want to do something, do it. Like, have at it.
Yeah.
So
but the fact that you send stuff, though, even in that situation, it helps. It helps those of us who are looking for something or a product like that to see it in action, instead of getting fed a sponsored ad, which I intentionally click on and click off of, not for small makers, but for like big companies. I used to work in marketing, so now like I know that it costs them money anytime I click on their ad, and I know when they're trying to target me. So it's like I intentionally click on it and then click off of it to cost them money. Not small businesses, but large corporations. Yes, I do that too, and I'm not sorry for it.
You're petty.
I'm much more likely to buy a product. Yes, I am. I'm much more likely to buy a product if I've seen somebody that I know is doing something similar to what I'm trying to do, use it with success. So I would say that that's the best advertising you can possibly have, is to get it in the hands of people that are going to use it and going to put it to good use, find new ways of using it. And like you said, let it speak for itself. Let the word of mouth travel. And I just, it's working. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead and I didn't mean to go on too much of a tirade there, but even though you called me petty.
Was I gonna say something? I don't know, but sending
Yeah.
anybody a little jar of like some super cool colored flakes or glitter, it's like, they're gonna use it. They're not gonna look at it and go, I don't think I'm gonna use that, and just let it sit on the shelf. Like,
You'd be
I'd find an
surprised.
excuse.
Some people don't like it, and that's cool too. It's like it's all good. Like I had one guy who reached out to me. He's like, "Can I have your permission to like use your stuff in my video?" I was like, "Brother, you don't need my permission. Like, good, bad, or
Please.
ugly, like go. Even if you hate it, it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it."
Yeah, definitely. And I know you mentioned like you bought that first mold and that first injector. I'm curious. Do you know how many molds you own now?
Jeez,
I knew it was going to be a tough question. That's why I
Well-
asked, but it's got to be a lot.
it's over 200, easily over
Yeah.
200 for sure. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And that's not, now to be fair, like I work with Epic Bait Molds, but prior to Epic Bait Molds, working with them, I spent thousands of dollars on my own with them, and I have thousands of dollars invested in, multiple other companies too. Just because I use Epic on the channel, that's not all I use. There's a lot of fantastic bait mold companies out there. So yeah, but I look at it as an investment because you buy your mold once and it lasts forever. I mean, your great grandkids can be pumping out baits, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, at the same quality as I'm injecting today. The molds don't go bad, so as long as you don't chip them, dent them, on the insides and stuff, they last forever. So for me, it's an investment. It's an asset. So
Hey, do you have the 16-inch spaghetti yet?
it's on its way. I don't have it yet, but I'm so excited to
I
get
saw
my
that
hands
posted
on
today.
it.
Yeah.
I was so
That looks
Jason's
so
been-
cool.
he's been teasing me with that, and he texted it to Adam and I a couple weeks ago, and it's just like, dude, when is this coming out? Ship this thing already.
Yeah. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a fun one to fish. So I'm super excited.
I have a question. I want to jump in, Jesse. I saw
Go
a
for it.
video. I think you had just set up your 3D printers, and you
Yes.
were printing.
Mhm.
Did that pan out, or is it just like for prototypes? Like maybe.
It was for prototyping and stuff, and there was a period there where I was, trying to get to learn modeling myself. I made it partway through Fusion. I'm an audio engineer, so to do, it was funny because, of course, you go to audio school. The other half of the school is always graphic design. They always pair the two up together. So it's like, I always did the sound design for all the guys as like modeling projects and animations and renders and everything. So it's like I can't draw, so I have all these ideas and I try and put it down. I think I got through a tutorial where I made a Lego brick in Fusion 360, and I sent it to Jason. I was like, "Look, I made a Lego brick in Fusion." Like, yes. No, but I had a buddy of mine kind of help me model those bait designs, and I was gonna like, all right, I'll print some molds and I can do all this prototyping, and and I had done some resin printing early on because I'm a big gamer, so I had printed a whole bunch of D&D minis and painted them and everything. But after I bought the mold, the printers, to do the 3D printing for the molds and everything, after I printed a couple molds, I remembered why I sold my 3D printers or my resin printers the first time around, because I'm just like resin's great, it's amazing high resolution, but cleanup time, the smell, the ventilation, all this, I was just like, it's just too much. Like I don't got time for this. I work with too many other great
to aluminum.
Yeah, so exactly. So I got, I started working closer with Jason, and I've worked a lot with Kevin at Bass Tackle, and I work with Kirby now, so I got lots of machinists at my disposal if I need something like truly drawn up, which I'm working on, but I'll just do it with the right, just pay the professionals to do it. There's some stuff that's just better. My time is better spent focusing on other things for 8-bit than trying to mess with 3D printing and stuff right now. Like I'd love to do it. It just was, the resin printing was too much. But now, of course, I do want a filament printer because I've always kind of wanted a filament printer just for stuff around the house, just like to make something to hang on my French cleat wall or something, a tool holder or whatever, so.
Dude, it won't stop running if you get it. You'll find stuff to use it on literally 24/7. It's like every little, like you walk around a corner and you're like, something seems off. That could be something different right there. And then you'll be designing like a freaking bracket for
Yeah.
a wire or something like, yeah. And they're running all the time. But the reason I asked about the resin molds is because I've been struggling to print resin molds again because I used to use a different resin and they stopped making it. And it's really been kicking my ass for like the last 3 months. So I saw that video and I was like, I wonder if he figured anything out because
No, well, I was using.
ass.
Yeah, so that sculpt resin was the only, or it may still be the only one that was high enough temperature to handle, injections. But that stuff was a pain in the butt to deal with because it didn't like cold temps. Then you had to have a heater for your vat or get these little mini tents to like keep the whole unit warm while you're 3D printing the mold. And that's where I was like, this is just, no, it's
not worth
too much. It's not what I thought it wasn't as quick of a process as I thought it was going to be, because again, I'm used to D&D miniatures, so it's like, oh yeah, like walk away 3 hours later, I got 20, miniatures and I paint them, cure them, good to go. No, big, thick mold, then you get your 8 hours into a print and one support breaks and then the whole thing's, cooked. And then it's just like, all right, well, that was a waste of, I don't know, 15 hours of, fine tuning, and then you scrape it off and now your resin printer's not aligned anymore, so now it's another 2 hours trying to get the darn thing like realigned so you can just get your base layer stuck, and then you're watching it, right? Like shining a flashlight in there, is it print? That didn't work. Okay, another half second
know for an hour and a half.
Yeah, so it's just, I was like, it's just resin was just way too like, I'm over it. I was over it real quickly, so I applaud the people that do it.
I figured there was some frustration in the process, and I just wanted to feel better about my frustration by hearing yours. I get to listen. I get to listen to Jesse once in a while struggle with his, and I'm like, at least it's not just me. Although he's been good,
but
I think we got it all figured out.
Yeah, we got my little tiny Mars 3 running like a top, so it does good. But all right, well, Michael, for anybody that hasn't used 8-bit products yet, and you talked a little bit about this earlier, and I know that we've bragged a lot on your various offerings of powders, pigments, flakes, Siren Scales, stuff like that. What do you feel like sets your product apart from a lot of the other stuff that's out there? Because I know I started with I found the cheapest thing I could find on Amazon to start with, right? Because I'm like, I knew of 8-bit, but I'm like, I'm still figuring this out, so I'm not going to buy that yet. So I don't just waste it on trash lures that I'm trying to figure out. But for that person that's out there, that's kind of ready for something, to level up the look of their baits, why should they pick 8-bit?
Yeah, well, so first and foremost, I'll preface this with I am merely an importer of goods. So I don't want to, give the false impression that we are creating things from scratch. I would say the extent of creating stuff from scratch is, I have a relationship with one of my suppliers. And so I work with them on trying to create custom colors, and things of that variety. So I'll give you, a quick background. So as I mentioned, I work in the gaming industry and I do headset development for gaming headsets. I've been in the space a long time. I've shipped a lot of product over the last, 16, 17 years or so. And when I got into bait making, which is also, soft plastic injection, it's still plastic injection. So a lot of the properties carry over. We're just using a different blend of PVC and plastisol than we are versus the headset that I'm wearing here. It's just a harder blend, different hardeners, different chemical mix up. And so, as I mentioned, I was watching Chris Jones's channel and I saw, a lot of people starting to use color shifts, but the only place they could get them was either Amazon, which is the stuff that doesn't work, or they're buying them from automotive industry or other automotive pigment makers, and paying very expensive prices. I was even blown away at the pricing of things. Knowing what I know from the plastic injection industry on the headset side, it's like, well, I know who the companies are that make that stuff. Why isn't anyone using that stuff? It was just why wouldn't anyone use this? Because a lot of the stuff they're used for different industries and no one, I guess, has ever really looked at it really for fishing, I guess, maybe because of the cost as well. But so you have, I was looking at this market of overpriced, mica powders in the automotive world, because that's all they need. They don't need anything really super fancy. And a couple companies do, House of Color and those guys use, some of the same suppliers I do. But now you're talking, super high end, paint jobs, right? Multi-$1,000 paint jobs. So they'll use that high level stuff. But for the most part in the world, you see color shift micas everywhere, and they'll work, but they're overpriced. All the stuff you see on Amazon are all resellers or people trying to make like knockoffs. And what's important to know, and I guess where you could say where my product stands out is, again, I'm only an importer. There's only 3 chemical companies in the world, and I'm going to be careful because I don't want to give up my suppliers' names.
Good.
But it's not like it's rocket science, but unless you're in the chemical world, you don't know who they are. So, this is the first thing, people go to pigment companies. They're not pigments. There's only 3 chemical companies in the world that make these. One is a German company that manufactures in Germany. The other is a Chinese chemical company that manufactures in China. The third is a Japanese chemical company that also manufactures in China. So there's only 3 factories in the world that make true silica dioxide powders, titanium dioxide coatings, and have all the lab tools and stuff necessary to create the color shifts. Because basically the way you get the colors is it's just silica dioxide powder. There's nothing really magical there. It's all in the oxidization of the titanium like chemical compound. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how it works. Representation, I could say, is I don't know if anyone watches a YouTube channel like Alex Steele.
Oh yeah,
that's
exactly what I was thinking.
So when he's going into the titanium Damascus, he's kind of showing you like titanium has certain properties at certain chemicals, and the way you heat treat it and this and that, it turns those certain colors, and you'll see those same colors, very similar shifts, the pinks, the oranges, the reds, the blues, the greens in these powders, because it's all titanium oxides, iron oxide, coatings and chemicals that are fused with these powders. Now, what makes them so different as opposed to a normal, let's say, mica powder, right? So mica is very inexpensive, inexpensive pigment. There's different levels of quality within mica, but a mica powder is a solid pigment. Like, it's not really translucent. And there's some interference powders that are, semi-translucent, but they basically cloud up the liquid, whatever, whether it's a clear coat, a plastisol, whatever you're going to mix it in, it clouds it. It's a solid. So you have to spray it over like a base coat, especially like in a car application. The silica dioxide, they are translucent. They're optically clear. That is the special property of them. So they act like microprisms. So when you mix them into clear coats, paints, epoxies, etc., you see the light refraction. What you're seeing is the light refracting through the powder, not a reflection, how standard glitter would normally operate. You're watching light reflect off of it. No, what you're watching is light being refracted, so you're only seeing certain rays, and then the rest of it is bounced out at an angle that's opposing from where your viewpoint is, so you don't see it. It's there, you just can't see it because of the direction that the photons are now. I think it's photons the way. So scientists can fact check me in the audience. Yeah.
Seriously. Right.
So when you hold it up to light in different angles, you'll get the 3 to 4 color change effect, but then you hold it up and you realize at certain angles, it's gone. But like optically clear, like it blends in with the plastisol or epoxy, just like, when you sand down a clear coat and apply another layer of clear coat, you don't see the roughness underneath because of the way it bonds. They also create what's called an aqueous suspension. So they're designed to be used for, plastic injections, and, epoxies, paints, etc. They create an aqueous suspension so they stay suspended in the water, whatever liquid compound they're around. So they're not going to like sink to the bottom immediately like glitter would. So, you mix it up, you now have like, 30, 40 minute, working time before the powder even starts to like settle. So, when you're doing hand pouring and things like that, where you need to have stuff suspended for longer periods of cure times, etc., it's perfect for that. You can pour hot. You don't got to worry about everything sinking. It just stays suspended. And so, it's so the specialness behind the powders is the powders themselves. I just source them. I have just chosen to source directly from the source because I have relationships with these companies via making headsets and other factories that I've worked with before. I think you'll see a lot of competitors, and a lot of the stuff you see on Amazon are sourced from Alibaba, Temu, etc. And those are all what are called resellers, because factories aren't allowed in mainland China to sell directly to the public. So, you may be buying, let's say, factory direct. That's someone's brother who has an office inside of the factory. But on paper, trust me, it's a separate company because only resellers are out there on Alibaba, Temu, etc. So people are importing these in. They're getting the low quality stuff, and they're not holding up. Glitter's a whole nother one. Like, a lot of people don't realize glitter was made and patented and developed here in the United States. There's only 2 factories that make glitter in all the United States. And anywhere else in the world, if you're buying glitter, it's like fake. It's not the real thing. It's all like, unless you're buying glitter from these 2 factories in the US, the reason there's glitter overseas is because someone sold one of the machines once. It's a whole crazy, conspiracy theory around. I won't go into that. You guys can look into the whole glitter. Huh? Look in the big glitter. It's a whole weird thing. Seriously, it's crazy.
I will be looking into that later tonight.
Yeah, seriously, it's a rabbit hole. It is a rabbit hole. So all these resellers are selling either stuff that's not to say that they're not the real thing. I mean, they're obviously titanium dioxide, but they're not coming from the 3 factories that actually invented, developed, and hold patents. So the quality tends to be lower. The color shifts tend to be not as pronounced. And so, but hey, it's a free market. I encourage everyone to come in. Water's warm, hop on in. But like I said, I source the best. I stand behind it. And the products so far have spoken, like you said, for themselves. And there's no, as someone who's promoting a product or putting something out there, I have to worry about liability and all this other stuff. So I want to make sure what goes out there, is legit. And it's proved itself. We're in Taco Warehouse now, which I never thought would happen. That happened.
That's awesome.
They called me from, I think, seeing it on other people's channels. People in their offices use it, and it's, I'm super stoked to be partnered with them. It's slowly taken off, and for me, I would love to move beyond pigments because I understand there's a lot of room to grow in this market, but also, I get asked all the time, people, they want to buy baits with the stuff in it. So I'm pointing them to other bait makers. So I'm trying to figure out how can I, start getting into some Zorn molds and get some people to run some baits for me until I can eventually run my own Zorn mold. Because I've already got it quoted, my dream world, if I grow the company, I'm going to get a warehouse, my own Zorn machine. I've already quoted them. They're like 80 grand, get a couple of tools made up and, use the highest quality plastisol because they're all using the cheap crap, out there and, run similar playbook, using YouTube as the marketing, primary method and get baits into people's hands, broader with cool colors. And, they're not going to be cheap again. They may cost the same as a pack of Yamamoto Senkos, but these are colors no one's putting out at a volume scale. And I would love to get them in people's hands. That's kind of my longer term, vision and dream. I think it'd be cool in a world where if I could set it up where I work with a bait company, a mold company, hey, here's these cool baits you can get out in the stores. And then there's a QR code on the back. By the way, scan the code. You want custom colors? You can make this yourself. Here's the bait mold. Yeah. Get it. Come in, join us, get into bait making, buy it from here. Or, hey, go find a bait maker, tell them about this mold. You can get this in custom colors, and so to me, I think there is a world where that can exist. I think a lot of the large corporations are afraid of that today. They use the excuse of it could be a hit to revenue. Why would we want to give out baits when we can sell them at Bass Pro Shops? And it's you can do both, actually, believe it or not, and I kind of, that inspiration for me comes from, I look at, I come from the audio world, the music space. I look at when you talk about grassroots movements, who are audiences? Look what we're doing on YouTube, this podcast right now, right? It's just public viewers. I look at in the music industry, look at bands like Dave Matthews Band, The Grateful Dead, Pearl Jam. These are bands that all actually encouraged the audience to record and tape their shows. Whereas everyone else in the industry is like, no, 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 you can't record our shows. Don't videotape, don't audio tape. And the reason that, you know, Dave Matthews and Pearl Jam can still go out 40, 50 years later, Grateful Dead is filling up stadiums 60 years later, because the grassroots fan base is because people knew every show was different. Yeah, I can go buy the store-bought CD, but I can also get the shows and trade them with people. And the same thing can happen with baits. Like, yeah, there's the store-bought colors, and they'll be out there and people will buy them because, you know, the number of people that fish versus bait makers is there's way more people that fish that don't even want to mess with making baits. But the people that want them or like want to do custom stuff, like, hey, come get your favorite bait, get the mold, and like have at it. You don't got to worry about, you know, patent infringements or copyrights or whatever. Let's go. Let's be a community. Let's, you know, do cool stuff. Maybe there's a community color that'll pop up so everyone likes it. Put that baby into production. You know, like if it's working. So that's kind of like where I would love to take 8-bit. I totally went on a whole tangent there from the original question, so sorry.
I love it.
You got to jump in and shut me up. And Batman up there hasn't said 2 words the whole podcast, by the way. He's just sitting there soaking it all in.
I am. I'm soaking it all in for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say that,
out of
but
the three,
you said it.
Out of the three of us, Trevor is the one that does the soft plastics. So I know that he's a big fan of what you do and your products, and he's the only one brave enough to enter into that world. So he's a man of few words, but he does words good when he does choose to words. So
that's important.
He's the expert. He's the expert out of us, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just talk a lot. I talk too much.
That's right. I just talk a lot, then I get myself in trouble.
No. I'm not going to jump in and shut you up because I loved everything you were just saying. I think that's a fantastic idea. And I do want to kind of springboard off of that into what I love about a lot of your videos is when I see you mixing up a color, right, for an injection. And I don't even do soft plastics, but it's still like, it's fascinating to me. It's like you'll have your cup of plain plastisol, and then you'll start adding to it. And my brain stops at like 5 things, right? That's like, I'll put 5 things into one thing and I'll be like, that's enough. But I'll see, and you're like, a little bit of this dye, a little bit of this dye, a little bit of that dye, a drop of this one, a 16th of this powder, a 16th of that powder, a 16th of the scale, like of these, and they're all like different diameters and different, shapes, square or whatever. And I'm like, that seems like a lot of stuff to put into a single colorway, but then you mix it and it's like, oh, that's why.
Many ingredients, very small amounts.
Yeah.
That's the trick. I see so many videos of so many people, like you want to squirt your plastisol in there. That's cool. I just see people like shoving glitter into their baits. And I'm just like, do you go take your favorite commercial soft plastic bait, whatever colorway it is, and hold it in your hand. I guarantee the amount of glitter in there is a fraction of what y'all are dumping into your baits. Too much glitter. It's a bad thing. Okay. That's why like I work with my I color match the Zoom's watermelon red recipe. Like, look at your ratios, right? Like, oh no, it's only a 16th of this because like you have a smaller particle size glitter. There's going to be more units of them in that 1/16th scoop. So you're not going to need the same, quarter teaspoon scoop you would for the larger flake because they're larger, right? So you need larger volume. And people don't take that stuff into account, and then they end up with these baits that are just like piled up with glitter. And to be fair, from the color side, I'm very lucky to have a good mentor. I don't know, for whatever reason, all I did was reach out to MF one day and said I have a YouTube channel and I'd like to purchase one of every color. Next thing I know, Jeff is calling me, and now he won't stop calling me, and I talk to him all the time, and we've just become friends. And so a lot of the stuff I've learned from Jeff over at MF, and I don't know, maybe he thinks because it's, their company's dwindling down. I mean, it's just him and his wife left, and they're getting older. So he's trying to like impart some knowledge on me, I guess. I don't know. I didn't ask for this. It's just kind of a friendship we've developed, and I'm very blessed that he's sharing a lot of the information with me. But that stuff, like the motor oil video and stuff, he's like, get it out there, show people, like show them, like, You know, it's been proprietary for years. Just put it out there and let people do it, you know, and I try and take I call it like the Bob Ross approach. You know, that's why I do the videos the way I do that way, because my wife and I watch a lot of Bob Ross and I love how he talks through it. And you start to learn, like when you start to layer stuff you know, it's funny because Jeff has taught me the same thing on how to build color, you know, with translucence and things like that. It's like, no, you don't need to add 10 more drops to make it thicker. You know, you can do 1 drop of black or take a brown, and 1 drop of brown will give you that 10 extra drops. And then there's other things you have to think about, right? That like people don't think, you know, you're squirting all this color in your plastic, you know, plasticizer softener, a.k.a. is the carrier for all those powder pigments and liquid pigments and dyes. So you're squirting a bunch of color into your bait. You're also squirting a bunch of softener into your bait. So you start with a medium. By the time your color's done, you got a worm blend because of how much color you just squirted into your cup of plastisol, not thinking about it. Or you got so much glitter in there. Now you're literally changing the entire molecular structure because there's not enough more other plastisol for it to bond to. So the amount of glitter is going to change the action of your paddle tail back there because it's trying to grab onto PET glitter instead of other molecules of PVC. So it's like you have to take all this into account. And people are like, well, Senko's, they got the magic blend. Yeah, they do. Because someone sat there, Gary or whoever, his scientist, or maybe it was Gary, I don't know, and they sat there and they tested it until that formula is perfect. And that's the one they ship with. And so, you know, don't do a color once and think you're done with it. Like, unless you've made that color 10 times, you don't know how to do that color match yet. Don't tell yourself you have, because you haven't. And, you know, because the other thing I learned from Jeff is like, all right, you think you color matched it? Set that bait down. Come back in 2 months. What's it look like? Did it turn yellow? Did your glitter screw it up? The Zoom bait's been on the shelf. This stuff's been here for 3 years. You can talk all the crap you want about Yum Dingers and Zoom and this stuff's cheap, this, that. That bait color won't change for 10 years hanging on that wall because these guys have perfected the formulas, right? So that's the stuff you have to take into account. You know, bleeding, dyes that work with one another, you know, so I try and show people, just to come circle back around to your question, I try and show people the process. I figured that's what I liked watching. Like when I watch Chris Jones, what do I want to, like, how is he making the color? How many drops did he put in? Okay, wait a minute. I saw him put a drop of that and he didn't mention it. He didn't say, but what was that jar? And I'm like pausing the video, right? You know, like what? Watermelon 106. Okay, what that sneaky SOB? Like, wait a minute. He didn't say there's no watermelon 106. What is that? Oh, it's some like 20-year-old color. Lou Works doesn't make it. I'm just making it up. But you know, whatever it is. So, you know, I'm like, well, I'm going to make content that I like watching. And these are the questions I get asked for color matches more than any other type of content because that's what people want. Like, how do I make this color? Yeah, I can't try. I've tried. How do I make this, make that? And so that's what they love watching. It's like, I equate it to like when I watch one of Nate's videos. I subscribe to the Fish with Your Masterpiece course. I got all the woodworking tools here. You see the woodworking hanging up on my French cleats and stuff. Man, I can't make a wooden bait. My life depends. I've tried. I filmed it. I was like, I'm going to film myself, you know, doing the whole master. No, this is not, we do not want to see this content.
Yeah, we do.
And so,
I want to see. Yeah.
So it's like the way I enjoy like watching a master at his craft. I hope, not that I consider myself a master, but like, I hope people enjoy that, like coming along for the journey. Like, here's the color, like, here's how we make it. And, you know, and I get asked all the time, well, can I substitute this color for the, no, you can't. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be what you see on video. Like you want to match this color, you need these ingredients. That's why I'm showing, this is the recipe. So, you know, it's like, you know, I guess I'm using all these different like similarities, but like cooking or anything, any recipe, it's a recipe. People are going to tweak it. You know, I could give the recipe to you, Jesse, and you could like tweak it a certain way. And then maybe you give it over to Anthony and Anthony tweaks it. And turns out everyone likes Anthony's the best because it just happens to be the right formulation.
That's usually how it happens.
Not with plastisol.
No, that's,
The only thing I do with soft plastics is pour rat tails because anything else I'm absolutely screwing up my whole microwave. My whole house stinks. The glitter's on fire.
Yeah.
Caught your glitter on fire. Okay.
Don't laugh at me, Batman.
How do we? Are we using aluminum glitter in the microwave? What's happening?
It was just an example. Who knows, dude? I just avoid it. Stick to plastisol, and I put some black in it, and that's my tail.
Yeah. And I use like Zoom trick worms for tails. I don't even. It's plastisol. Like I hurt myself enough carving baits. I don't need an additional threat of 3rd-degree burns, because it will happen to me, because I'm big, dumb, and clumsy.
That's why I wear a leather apron. I have burnt my hands. It is not fun.
No.
Glove
Yeah,
up.
we just
wear protect. Like people, 300. Like I'm not trying to sound like a safety police here, but like 350-degree plastisol, everybody, is no joke. We're talking instant 2nd-degree burns, potentially 3rd if it sits on your skin for longer than 10 seconds. Like, no joke. So protect yourself. One little spill. I mean, just the flip. Like, if one of those your butter knife or something fall. That's how I originally got burnt the first time. I'm just holding it, and the little I'm holding the canister there, and the butter knife flips out like that. Flung it up, got it like on my arm and all over like my hand. So it was streaks, but like instant burns. Like I got a burn mark here on my arm that like I'll have forever. So it's just like, and that could flick up, hit your eye, hit your face, whatever. Just a little knife going like right onto the counter. Or worse, I've seen people do, your cup's on your counter and you just turn and you bump it. And now you got the motion of your arm. Now you're slingshotting, 350-degree, napalm right at yourself or up in the air, and who knows where that's going to fall. And then the first thing everyone does is, oh my God, wipe it off. Now my stomach burns. Oh God, get it. Like, like it's this, it just goes downhill fast. So you wear the proper PPE when you're dealing with plastic. You don't want to breathe that stuff in either, by the way. So ventilation, like respirator, whatever you got to do to protect yourself. I know we don't do it when we're filming videos. I mean, you can always hear the fans in the background, on my videos, because like I'm not gonna have hot plastisol if there ain't fans running. Like that's not good for you. Don't be. It's PVC. You're literally breathing in PVC fumes. So just
which can those will kill you.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, and we just had Tom from Saddle Tramp Bait Co. on a couple of episodes ago. And he had his, it was like a vertical mold that he had poured, and it was full of hot plastisol. And he had another cup of plastisol in the microwave, and he went to hit the button on the microwave. The door popped open and knocked that one out, or knocked the upright mold that was still pretty fresh off. And he sent me a picture of it, and his entire arm is just a 3rd-degree burn. And then he had a big expo that he had to go to. What was it, like a couple of days later? And couldn't even put gauze on it because the nonstick gauze would stick. And I'm like, if anything sold me on not doing soft plastics, it's probably that, because I would find some way. I could cover myself in head to toe with PPE, and the one little bare spot on my neck would catch a large glob of it, and it would eat into my spine somehow. I don't know. It doesn't actually. Yeah, it's not that serious. But
the worst offender. I'm just gonna, if I can take this moment to hop on a pedestal, I'll make it real quick. The worst offender I see on social media is people with aluminum workbenches or aluminum tabletops, and you know that is a cold surface. You come into your garage, like even if you think, well, it's hot, it's 80 degrees in my garage, right? Like aluminum is a conductor. So the moment you take that 350-degree plastisol out of your microwave and you set it on that 80-degree, aluminum countertop, what's happening right now is an extremely rapid heat transfer from the glass down into the aluminum table. And that is a great way to shatter your Pyrex cup. They could take lots of heat, but the glass can't take thermal shock like that. What I mean is, this is why aluminums are used for cooling blocks, right? Because it'll suck the heat right out of whatever's touching it. So you put that plastisol, right on top of that aluminum counter with no mat, it's just immediately, going through that thermal shock, that heat's getting transferred out, and you can shatter that glass. Now you got, again, an explosion of napalm happening all over your counter, and it's going every direction, and it takes
glass.
So, so like partly why I made the mold mats, I'm not trying to pitch another product here, but like it's just a baking sheet. Go get a baking sheet. If you have any type of like, melamine surface or aluminum surface that usually stays cool to the touch, like put some kind of protective layer down so you're not shattering your Pyrex cups. Because even then, like Pyrex is good, but they're expensive. So a lot of people don't use Pyrex. They're using Anchor or some other cheap, Amazon, microwave safe glass. And, just be careful, folks, because it's, it can burn real bad.
Yeah. Well, speaking of PPE and being careful, my next question has to kind of do with the powders and the 8-bit, all your entire line of products. Because you mentioned earlier that it's it's coated in titanium dioxide, or it is titanium dioxide, or it's
coated in it. Yeah. Silica dioxide. Yeah.
So it's not like regular mica powder. We've already clarified that, and I know that most mica powders are pretty non-toxic, and like people use them in food, like coloring and food. Like, is there any difference between that standard mica powder? There's obviously a difference, but is there a difference when it comes to what precautions you should take when you're handling it and what you should do? Is it any different or more reactive?
It's all non-toxic. So, whether it's borosilicate powder or the SiO2 or the, SiO2 flakes, they're all non-toxic, safe to skin touch. It's all cosmetic grade material because they do use them in cosmetic industry as well. So they're non-toxic. But that being said, you don't want to ingest them, right? Like, because it's just like fine dust particles. So, hollow shift's non-toxic, but you don't want a ton of that blowing into your eye. Just like any other dust, you don't want to breathe a bunch of it into your nose or inhale it into your lungs because now you got a bunch of 40 micron dust particles in there. And then you're going to go into a coughing fit or your body's going to, everyone's reaction may be different, but it's just like if you were to inhale a bunch of dust, sneezing, coughing, mucus, a bunch of stuff, but it's not going to make you like sick. It's non-toxic overall. But like I said, wear the proper PPE. You don't want to breathe it in. You don't want to get in your eyes because they're small. It's mostly because they're small particles. And anyone who's watched a video or uses them knows, like especially Siren Scales, you just take off the lid and that stuff just wants to take off. It's lighter than air. Which is amazing that it can be that light and so small and thin and handle up so much like chemical and heat abuse. I mean, it really is an amazing material. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I just a funny story real quick before we jump into the next segment, which is our trivia round, as I've started calling it. But just a funny story. I'm prototyping a new mini glide, blah, blah, blah. I've talked about it a dozen times on here and I won't keep talking about it, but I was trying to figure out a process for, I can tell you about it later.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was trying to figure out just a simple, like dumb method of silicone injecting the tails. And I have a bunch of the leftover cheapo mica powders. And I'm like, well, just to screw around, I don't want to use the good stuff on this. I'm just going to use one of these cheap powders. And I had one that I had never opened before. And it had the little quasi cardboard paper top on it that you're supposed to peel off, but it wouldn't peel off because it was cheap and it was from Amazon. And so I, being the genius that I am, decided to shove my thumb down in the side of it and proceeded to turn myself into a Smurf.
Did you get the big puff of air pop and it all?
Oh, it went all over me. It spilled all down my shirt, on my arm. And I sent these guys a picture of it. And this was after I tried to wipe it off. That stuff it gets down in your fingerprints and everything. It's so small.
It takes a couple showers to get that stuff out of all the cracks.
Yeah. Luckily, I was able to get most of it off with just, warm soapy water. Took the bulk of it off. But yeah, I did have to take a shower and throw away the clothes that I was wearing because I was like, I'm not putting that in my washer. It's not happening.
Don't do that. Yeah.
It's like everything will be blue from here on out for the next several loads. So I just threw those away. But yeah, it was just a funny story about that. But anywho, like I said, it's time for our trivia round.
Sweet.
Michael, are you prepared?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
It's a long and arduous test with 2 questions that we ask all of our guests. They're very difficult questions. There is no wrong answer. I will say that if that puts you at ease.
Okay. All right.
Well, there could be a wrong answer, but there is no wrong answer. The first question is, I want you to tell us what you think is the greatest artificial lure ever made.
Greatest artificial lure ever made? So that's like not even from personal experience, huh?
Your personal opinion.
Well, I mean,
Answer however you want.
I know what my favorite is, but versus what the greatest is. I mean, I think it's hard to beat. I think the Senko is probably the greatest. I mean, there's probably more fish caught on a stupid Senko than anything else. So I look at it from that perspective. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it freaking catches fish. I mean, it's not my favorite way to fish. I mean, but if you want to know, I'll just caveat that with my personal favorite.
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Is a 4-inch Kitech Easy Shiner on a Mega Bass a.k.a. screwhead. That is which is why, from a mold perspective, I like the Epic 4-inch prey bait, the 4-inch Slick Swim. The 4-inch Slick Swim is the closest thing I found to a 4-inch Kitech Easy Shiner. So, but I will have, whether it's an Easy Shiner or a Slick Swim, but that screwhead, a.k.a. screwhead, Easy Shiner, that's like on the deck of my boat 24/7. That is my go-to. If they're not biting that, for me, they ain't biting. Or I'm in the wrong place, which is more than likely the case. I just don't know where they're at.
Yeah. And I think sometimes I've asked that question is, what is your favorite and what do you think is the greatest? So I may just stick with the favorite because everybody says the Senko whenever I say the greatest, because you're right. It catches fish.
It's hard. It's hard.
Than any other bait out there. Yeah.
Like, how do you define it, right? Number of units sold, number of fishes caught, tournaments won. Like, it's hard to beat, but the other one that's up there with the Senko, but a lot of people don't realize that it had like almost a big of impact as forward-facing sonar today is the A-rig, which is why it was outlawed in so many states. Like, A-rig is effective. Like, I mean, it's up there. That's why it was outlawed in so many places for a period of time. It wreaked havoc on the professional bass world for a while. They were like, whoa, you guys can't use this. Time out.
Yeah. We can only have 3 hooks on them in Missouri legally.
Yeah, same here. 3 hooks in California as well.
Yeah. It's definitely effective, but yeah, good answer. It's a solid answer.
What's
it's a
the
good favorite
question?
To have. Second question is, what is an interesting fact about you that your followers would never guess? And it can be fishing or non-fishing related.
I'm a Guinness World Record holder.
Really?
Elaborate.
In 2008, NVIDIA, the graphics card company, had a LAN party. They called it the GeForce LAN party. And they wanted to set the world record for the world's longest nonstop LAN party. And we started with 350 people. We needed 200 to set the record. That's kind of what Guinness World Records had set it as. You need 200 people to qualify. So 36 hours of gaming, no breaks. We started with 350 kids or people, all ages, 203. We just barely squeaked by. 36 hours of gaming, no breaks. Keep that in mind, 36 hours. So you're talking about getting up every 10 minutes to go to the bathroom now. Try going 36 hours. So
what year was it?
2008. And so we set the record at 36 hours in 2008. And then I want to say the year after at DreamHack over in Sweden, they extended the record to 48 hours. So 48 is the current long-standing record right now, but we set the first one at 36 hours. So I have in my office inside the house, I have a whole Guinness World Record plaque and everything. It's got my name, I got my medal and everything. So yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, so the next question, I guess there's a follow-up question to this.
Okay.
What was
Counter-Strike or Quake?
Counter-Strike or Quake. Well, I'm going to go with Quake because I think it's just a better game. I mean, Counter-Strike was a Quake 2 mod, if y'all don't remember. But I did get down on some Quake 2 Capture the Flag. I would say that was probably when Team Fortress was a mod for Quake 2. That's kind of when, Quake 2 CTF, I really got into esports in college. That shit. We're talking 1998 here now, 98, 97, somewhere around there. We're going way back, man. Yeah. No, I'm a hardcore video gamer. I grew up playing ColecoVision. That's how far back I go. So I'm a fossil, but yeah. But I love video games. Yeah.
What game did you do for the LAN party, or was it just several different ones that you?
Oh, I think I was hopping around, but it was a lot of Call of Duty and World of Warcraft at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Alliance.
Yeah. For the Horde.
He hates me now.
I started off as Alliance, to be fair, though, on Stormwind server. Now I don't know what server I'm on. My wife drugged me over to Horde, so now I play Horde. Another, I'm going to give her a shout out, Carolina Strikers. Christina is a big World of Warcraft player as well. So shout out to Christina.
I saw
my
her
wife and
printing stuff, like all the globes, and it's pretty cool. I haven't played in like forever, but I was big into WoW.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see it, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of the theme of my company, 8-Bit Baits, right? It's because gaming is such a big part of my life. I've worked in the industry for forever. And so I try and keep a lot of the kind of 90s gaming and pop culture themes with like the product names and stuff. It's just, I don't know. To me, I feel like the 90s was the peak of human civilization and culture.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
100%.
It's all been downhill since the 90s. So
no, can't beat the 90s. The early 2000s
whoever's running
were
the
pretty...
simulation, can you just like repatch it to bring the 90s back, and we can all like live
I will
happily
say
ever
that
after.
the 90s are GOAT, right? Greatest decade of all time. But I really enjoyed the early 2000s too. Not necessarily the 9/11 part of it, but the rest of it, like the between 2001 2005. Like,
as a musician, I can't agree with you because that was the death of rock and roll. So you'll never convince me.
Not a fan of new metal, huh?
Well, no, but like no one plays band. Like kids don't play in bands anymore, and that started around the like early 2000s. And my son, like, he grew up playing. I play the drums, so he grew up playing the drums, and he couldn't even like find a band to play with because there wasn't enough kids in the school to like actually get together and make a band with. It's like
that's
sad.
lame.
Breaks my heart.
Must have been different regionally, because I know in Missouri, like, I was in 3 bands in high school simultaneously. So it was, there were, and then, well into my 20s, I was in bands all the way up through that. So, maybe it's regional, because
that was a lot back then. Yeah, no, he's recent. He's only 20 years old. So I'm talking recently, but
yeah.
And back
gotcha.
in my day,
cool. Back whippersnappers.
We all had bands.
Right on. Well, Michael, is there anything that our viewers/listeners should be on the lookout for that is big and up and coming from either Baitchuckin or 8-Bit Baits?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of new content planned. We got videos coming up on, the Epic Gooper and the 16-inch worm that were just released by Epic. So those will be the next couple of videos. We got 3 product lines in the wind, just like waiting to be released. They're here. We're just, stickered, and my wife's helping with photography, but we're focused on her book right now. But there's a whole nother, like, I don't know, 13 or 14 colors of mica shift powders that are coming. And then I have a whole new line of what I'm calling moon dust. That's probably the marketing name we'll land on. So moon dust is actually the same as hollow shift, but larger particle sizes. So that way you get more bling for your buck, if you will. So bigger particle sizes, more, brighter, kind of like isolated, sparkle, as opposed to the finer, more solid color, a sheen that hollow shift provides. So in there, I got, what do I got? There's like 10 colors of the primary moon dust. And then I got another like 13 colors of like, it's a cross between the moon dust, but it's like, if you were to mix like very finely ground up Siren Scales with the moon dust, if that makes sense. So it's almost like the powder becomes the backer for the Siren Scales. So, but they're not like big Siren Scales. It's like they're all ground up into a tiny like powder, and they mixed it in with they like blend it with the SiO2 powder. It's pretty cool stuff. Has similar properties to some of the Siren Scales now. And then I have, a little further out, but I have I'm working with a factory to get some exclusive Siren Scale colors, which I'm super happy about, because we can finally order in the quantities necessary, the volumes to get those like exclusive colors. So this is where we can start getting into, again, like, I'm not really inventing it, but, I can send them colors and be like, hey, can you match this? So, my big goal right now is I'm focused on, we get close with the sonic hollow shift powder to the electric shad, but like, how can I match that sparkle violet flake and eliminate the heat sensitivity? And I think that, to me, it would be like the holy grail. you know, because everyone loves the electric shad, everyone loves that sparkle flake, but boy, you get it above 320, it just goes green on. It just like makes a hard turn, and half your plastisol cup decides it wants to be blue and green instead of purple. So if I can find, a Siren scale that can, keep that same violet hue and not deform or change color, that's kind of the dragon I'm chasing right now. So I'll let you know when I find it. We're close. We're getting close.
All right. Well, we will leave links to all of Michael's /Baitchuckin /8-bit Instagram, social media in general, websites, whatever links we can find in the description below. So make sure you go follow all of it and check out everything that they have to offer whenever it comes to awesome YouTube content, awesome bait making products. Yeah, we're just very fortunate and lucky to have been able to link up with Michael and put this together. Michael, thank you so much for spending the time
for sure, man.
with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anytime. Yeah. No, this has been a lot of fun. Like I said, you got to shut me up. I'll talk forever.
Nah, no, it's been great. It's been great. And I've learned a lot that I never even thought I wanted to know, but now I'm glad I do. Not being a soft plastics guy, it's maybe I'll have to try it. Maybe I'll need to get the full body suit, whatever they use to like walk into the volcanoes, the big foil suits. Yeah, I'll get one of those and maybe an injector. But we're not done with you yet.
Okay.
We've got a couple more things to discuss, but this is the point in the show where we kind of just go around the room and talk about what we've been working on lately. And I know you just touched on a lot of that stuff with the last question, but is there anything else that you've been working on specifically that lately, like right now?
Right. No, it's filming, trying to keep up with filming. No, I guess I have to do a video on it. So I'll tease it right now. So I'll give a shout out to Kevin over at Bass Tackle. If you go to the Bass Tackle website, it's the 568 creature. That is how do I describe it? I basically emailed Bass Tackle, said, I like this one mold. Would you want to make a modification for it? I think it would work for this application. Kevin said, I like that idea. We did a couple versions back and forth. And so now the 568 creature, which I've nicknamed, we call it the double macho. So that is my first bait that I've kind of co-designed, is chilling on Bass Tackle right now. So people can go pick that up. No, I get no affiliation, no, I don't get any sales from that. I love Kevin's injectors. I've used and shouted out Bass Tackle injectors for years. I think they're some of the best available. I stand behind them. I use them all the time. So those are the ones I recommend. But they got some great molds over there too. So that's like the newest thing that I have coming up is a video on the double macho. So phenomenal.
Double macho.
Yeah. So great Texas rig bait, which works great crawl profile, but its main purpose is to be a trailer for the Donkey Slayer, which is an oversized chatterbait. So any of you like to throw the large, like oversized, big blade chatterbaits, double macho is a killer trailer. So check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. The double macho. I love the name. That's perfect. I don't even know what it means.
It's like a branch off. So the short story is the Donkey Slayer is a big oversized chatterbait here. The Neko Macho is the trailer of choice for it. The Neko Macho is a bait made by Yamamoto. It was a Yamamoto Daiwa collab, but they don't make them anymore. So there's like a handful left on Tackle Warehouse, but that's about it. And so the double macho, as it would implies, has two bulbs on the back of it instead of one. So it's got two big dangly bulbs, for trailer, craziness back there, helping it hunt. And it works great because they're big, like huge, big, bulges, and they counteract the weight from the front. And so you get all kinds of hunting action. And it also works as a great crawl profile because when it stands up, it looks like a crawl with two big old, claws sticking up. So it like has, that wasn't its intention, but it's turned out to be a phenomenal Texas rig bait in addition to being a chatterbait trailer. So double macho. That's kind of, it was a side project for a friend that turned into a mold that everyone can now get a hold of. So
that's awesome.
You've heard it here first. I haven't done a video on it yet, so that's kind of new. And
so that's
the secret sauce. So for the people who have waited till the end of the podcast, this is your golden nugget of information.
Here's your reward. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, Trevor, what have you been working on lately?
I wrapped up those little teeny tiny raptors and got some more sent in. to repaint.
Jeez.
Just doing a lot of repaints lately. I went out and played with the Summit 3-piece today and couldn't be more happy. So I want to get a bunch of those built. And that's it, really. Getting this shop set up. Crunch time.
Yeah.
That
Exciting
summit
for
looks
that. So-
crazy good.
Man, that 3-piece summit that you posted today,
Thank you.
insane action on that thing. Go check that out. I'm excited for that one. I saw your video and I was the fast motion to slow motion to full. Yeah, you did a great job on that one.
Is that
The
your bait?
and the video?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's his.
Oh, cool. All right, I'll have to go check it out. Sorry,
Yeah. No,
I'm
it's
unfamiliar
great
with
bait.
it, so I'm gonna go check it out.
It's a great bait. A lot of people have been catching fish on it. The 2-piece version of it, but now he's got a 3-piece that is.
Oh, sick.
What is it? Is it out yet, or is it just about there?
I have a couple that I have sent to people, but I haven't exclusively dropped it, sold it. This is the 2-piece. So the 3-piece, has a little joint right here.
Yeah, that's sick. Wake
Yeah.
bait, or is it a crank
It
down?
wakes and it cranks down,
Sweet.
depending on retrieval speed and whatnot.
Yeah, awesome action. I was blown away today when I saw it.
I got so many questions for you swim bait guys because I want to learn. So I'm just like, what kind of rod are you? What setup you using? What are you rocking over there? What do you like?
We talked about that in an early episode, didn't we? Like one of the waybacks. I say the waybacks. It's like, no,
I'm gonna have to go back and
this for
watch it.
years.
Waybacks.
Yeah. What about you, Antoine? I don't know why I
What's
just
the
called you
question?
Antoine, but what are you working on?
Damn. When I played World of Warcraft, that was my my gnome's name. It was Antone. Anyway,
Antone.
Throwback.
yeah, you got me all screwed up. What have I been working on? A craw mold that me and Hunlors are releasing, and then just a bunch of molds for people, and painting a bunch of chipmunks with the nutlet, which I'm kind of tired of painting chipmunks already, and it's only been like 5. So if there's any
That's what you get for
chipmunks
making
available,
a chipmunk lure.
well, it could be a skunk too. I think that might be the next one. It might be a skunk and then a rat. I get
Oh.
very tired of doing the same thing. Like, you know how you have recipes for like colors? I'm the complete opposite. I can't, like, my brain shuts down, and it's like, if it was like 5 drops to make motor oil, I'd be like, well, this one's getting 20. Just because, like, I can't keep doing the same thing over and over.
No,
So I'm
that's
like,
fine. Yeah.
every paint job I do is like, it's just whatever I look at as a reference or something. So yeah, I'm already tired of chipmunks, but the blanks are available, so anybody can paint their own chipmunks. But yeah, are you painting one as a chipmunk, or?
I haven't decided. I don't
well,
know what I want to do.
That bluegill, the panfish poppy version, that was sick on a chipmunk.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But,
Michael, think Lisa Frank.
What?
Think Lisa Frank on a chipmunk.
Okay.
just super vibrant.
Very
Oh, yeah?
colorful, but it looks
Okay.
amazing. And I cannot believe you pulled it off on a.
I was questioning it.
Some of
I
Mike's
was
rats are like
questioning it.
that. They're all neon
Yeah.
colors, and he just gets lit up with those baits, man.
Mhm.
Fish,
Yeah.
they just go crazy for it.
When you see match the hatch, like it doesn't always need to. Like
No.
sometimes it just has to be different. And you could go out and throw exactly what they've been eating all day and not catch anything, and then throw something they've absolutely haven't seen and they never will see in their entire life if it weren't for humans fishing, and that's what they're gonna hit. So that's the fun part about being creative. Like it's our way of making artwork. Like
Mhm.
fish will eat anything. So
Fish are dumb, but they're also picky.
they're dumb and
They're
picky.
smart.
Yeah, you gotta be like, smarter than the fish, but at the same time, like, it doesn't have to be a perfect shad. It can have, some other colors on it, and they'll still eat it.
Yeah.
That was my rant. What are you working on?
I've poured a bunch of the mini glides for my favorite beta testers to get there. I'm letting letting them do the long cure now before I start painting them, but those will be going out fairly soon. I'm still pouring more as we go. I just finished a repaint or a couple repaints for the one and only person I do repaints for. Shout out Greg. And the next YouTube video still has not started. It's funny because in the rat video, I said, don't worry, it's not going to be another 2 months before my next video. Guess it's going to be right at 2 months by the time I get it out there. So no,
but you're doing this though. This is your content. I mean,
yeah, but that doesn't help. I love this, and I don't mind spending time on this. And this isn't the problem. This isn't the issue. It's the everything else in life and the world and work that gets in the way of the other stuff. But I prioritize this one because I have other people depending on me. So
videos
the other
are
one's
tough.
just me.
People don't realize how much time goes into putting a video on YouTube. A lot of hours. A lot of hours.
And I don't have anything to AI edit it for me like I do for the podcast. So that one I have to do the hard way. But yeah, that's about it. I'm mini glide
here.
So.
Yeah, that's the problem with getting anything else done is you're designing not only a glide bait, which can be tough, but a mini glide bait, which is like just smash your face off the wall because it's a real pain because everything is miniature. So
well, I'm just happy that the thing I've been obsessing over for the past 3.5 months, longer than that if we count the design time. I'm talking about like from like having a mold to forward 3 months. Yeah. To like that to where I'm at now has been about 3.5 months. And then we all know that I'm not good at fusion. So it took me a while to get that done in there, but not counting all that time, but it's been consuming my every free thought and moment up until this point. And I'm actually really relieved, I guess is the right word for it, to be at this point where it's like, okay, it's not my problem to figure out anymore, at least for a little bit. I'm going to get it to a bunch of other people so they can tell me what's wrong with it. And then I can fix that. Like, yeah, the problem's going to come back around eventually, but for the time being, I'm just mixing resin and pouring baits. Like that's all I've been doing. So I will get started on that next YouTube video, the next Freek Files YouTube video very soon. I got to go out of town this weekend, but I'm hoping on Monday when I get back, I can finally get there, at least get it started. So it shouldn't take near as long to make as the rat did because it's detailed in its own, no spoilers, but anyway.
Expect it in January.
No, sometime in October. Sometime in October it'll be out. I'm confident. But yep, that's about it. Well, gentlemen, it's time for our final segment. And this is a good one. It shouldn't take too terribly long. I know we already been talking for a while and it's all been great, but it's a great question. It just should be fairly simple to answer. Maybe not. Maybe we'll spend 30 minutes on it. Who knows? Who cares? But if you'd like to leave your question of the week for us to read and answer on a future episode of the Bait Boys podcast, leave it down in the comments below, whether you're on YouTube or Spotify. You can comment on either one of them or shoot us a DM at Bait Boys Podcast on Instagram. But this week's question of the week comes from Joe S. And Joe wants to know, what fishing apps do you recommend and why?
Trevor, you know who this is?
Yeah.
He has your artwork on him.
Yeah,
that's this Joe.
Trevor and Anthony both know this guy, but
okay.
And I know him from this stuff. I've interacted with him for a few times, but Joe wants to know, what fishing apps do you recommend and why? Michael, do you use fishing apps?
I do. Well, can you call them fishing apps? I was going to recommend Tides Pro is what I use. The California Delta is a tidal fishery. So it's very important to understand when's high tide, low tide, what the moon phases are. And so when, fish activity is going to be high based on the solunar activity. And so that is very helpful because I can look in advance to figure out, especially on the Delta, it's 1,000 miles, worth of river. So I can see where the tide's at, where I'm at right now. And so they call it running the tides, so I can set myself up for the day, at one end of the Delta, knowing if it's going to be outgoing tide. So I can kind of go to one area, if I know the tide's going to be flowing out, I can start at the front and kind of work my way back. Or vice versa. If I know it's incoming tide, I can kind of go work from the back of the Delta and work my way forwards because it'll always be like, higher tide coming as I'm fishing. So depending on where the tide is and the moon is, that's kind of like my number one app. I don't use I don't know what to do my fish apps like Fish Brain or any of those. I don't use any of that
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a lot of them out there. There's one that tells you what the wind is. There's one that, there's a.
That's the one I would say. So I don't know which app that is, but I do like that. I downloaded the demo and then they wanted a bunch of money for it, so I didn't pay for it. But it showed it was useful in the Delta because it shows the wind direction, so it shows where all the wind blown banks are. And I don't remember the name of the app, so I'm sorry.
I can't remember it either.
All the big YouTubers are always advertising it, so I know it's everywhere. But that wind feature alone, just you can see where wherever the wind blown banks are, that's where the bass are going to, the bait's going to get blown there. So, there's going to be bass, cruising those shorelines. So that's very useful. But it's, again, to me, that qualifies more like weather than it does fishing app. I don't trust fishing apps. Use this color on this, don't tell me what to throw. Don't tell me how to fish.
Tell me how to live my life.
Stupid phone. I'll throw you in the water.
Motor oil. Yeah. Where do I use motor oil? You ain't got motor oil. Get that app out of here.
Get that out of my face.
I admire anybody who can put that much thought into their day of fishing. For me, I just go on impulse.
Well, it's necessity out here. Otherwise, you're not catching fish. Yeah, no, it's the Delta. I don't want to go on a whole rant about it, but let's just say the Delta ain't what it was when Bass Pro was, televising tournaments out here. And even the last 4 or 5 years that I've been fishing, it's gone downhill fast. When I first started 4 or 5 years ago, Eric and I, we'd go out and fish. We'd lose count. We'd have 100 fish days. Now we go out, I'm lucky if we get, 15 bites in a day. Bites, not let alone keepers. And you watch these guys, I watch Bearded Bassin, for anyone who's interested in California Delta fishing, YouTube channel Bearded Bassin. We have these weekly Wednesday night tournaments, and Caleb films all those. He fishes with his dad, and he was out there fishing. And you look at these, every Wednesday night, and we got pros. Ish Monroe shows up to these Wednesday nighters because he's a Delta local, and these guys are barely pulling 24 pounds for a bag, pros are barely pulling up 24 or 25 pounds. So the Delta ain't what it used to be for a 5-pound bag. They're out there, but the fish are smart, and there's just so much pressure out here now. I think that's kind of probably a whole podcast episode on its own, but you see a lot of the pro anglers kind of, hemming and hawing about that a little bit. They're like, there's all this pressure now, which they're right. Fishing's exploded thanks to the Kofifi. And so now there's a bunch more people fishing, and the waters are crowded and fish are getting smart quick. So custom baits is the way. Throw them something they haven't seen before.
Amen. Trevor, what about you? What fishing apps? Do you use any fishing apps?
I do not use fishing apps. I suck the old fashioned way.
Yes.
But I do check the weather. There is a big river that runs through Connecticut that is controlled by the tide and whatnot. So I do, Fishing Reminder or something. It's a website. So you go to it, you put in your area, your whatever, and it'll give you the best condition. If I plan on having a bigger day of fishing, I'll check that the night before. But other than that, I suck the old fashioned way.
Old school sucking.
Yep. Old school. What about you,
like
Anthony?
Fish brain only for when I'm not in my local area. It's nice to see where I can go fish at least. I'm not technical enough to even be thinking about moon phases and tides or even what lures would be good. I want to throw a wake bait today, and none of the conditions say throw a wake bait. And I know that, but that's what I want to do.
That's the best kind of fishing, though. That's the best kind.
That's just what so I don't put that much thought into it, but Fish Brain helps me find some places that, I know are at least public and people have caught fish in. Although some of them say they're public and you get there and it's definitely not public. Yeah. It's on grandpa's farm.
Yeah. I ran into that a couple of times when I was using Fish Brain.
Yeah. You definitely got to zoom in on the map and see. That kind of looks like it's in someone's backyard. But yeah.
You almost need to cross-reference it with Onyx or something that tells you if it's public or private land.
What's Onyx?
It's a hunting app that it's
I thought it was a rock.
It has a layer. Yeah. No,
something
it has a layer on
Pokemon.
Yeah. No, it has a layer on it that will tell you, if a certain spot is publicly owned or it's public land or if it's private land and who owns it if you want to ask for hunting permission and stuff like that, because that's all public record. So it just cross references that stuff.
That's cool.
That's cool. But I will preface with fish brain, it's pretty stupid expensive if you want any of the decent features. So wait till it goes on like some type of sale, and then it's like $40 for the year or something, I think, which it's whatever. If you find it, some of the features useful, then it's not too bad. But other than that, other than like finding places or like Fishbrain has its own little community also.
I have used an app.
Liar.
Yeah, Google Earth.
Google Earth. That's a good one.
Great app to use.
I use that in conjunction with Fishbrain.
What's great about Google Earth is if you're trying to find structure, especially for you shore anglers out there, you can like go back in time on Google Earth. So you can check the maps all the way back like to the 90s in some locations. So you can kind of see during the dry periods, if the water's pulled back on your reservoir or pond, whatever, you can see where some of that hidden structure is around the shorelines. And then
that's genius.
That's a thing?
I never even thought about that.
Oh yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can scroll through the years. You have to use Google Earth, the actual app. So either go to the web app for Google Earth or use the physical like PC app, Google Earth. And then you can actually, there's a timeline bar at the top. So you can choose the map from what year. And it goes yearly, and then it goes back, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years. And then it starts to skip every 3 years or 5 years. But you can go back pretty far, see what your pond or your water has looked like over the years through wet seasons, dry seasons, etc. So great way to spot structure and other things. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I'll have to try that. Never even thought about doing that. I didn't even know you could go back. I thought it was just most recent.
Well,
that's cool.
Mapping is a huge one. I'll throw that out there, not to like jump in and reinsert myself into this question, but like,
please do.
So I use CMAP only because it's on my. I have Lowrance units on my boat, but CMAP, I think the mobile app is only like $40 a year now, which I know may sound like a lot, but if this probably won't help the shore anglers in the audience, but if you're anyone who uses a boat, that $40 a year gets you, and Navionics has a program too. So whatever your favorite map app is, the mobile phone versions, they only like $30-$40. So whatever brand you want to go with, pick one, doesn't matter. The point is, the sonar maps and the heat maps. So to be able to see like all like, the sonar maps and the color gradients of, your lake or whatever body of water you're fishing. So incredibly powerful and useful. Because if you're trying to locate fish, you can see where your point's at, how far do they go out? And you don't need electronic. You can have a rowboat, right? Or a kayak, because your phone is your GPS and everything. So even if you take it out when you're live, you can be like, you thought you were on the point, and you can see because of the sonar map, I'm actually 50 yards off of the point, and you can get yourself into position and start fishing that underground, or underwater structure, fish the points wherever it is. So I think mapping software is very cool. And the other nice thing about a lot of those apps is you can track where you caught fish. So you can kind of make your own heat map over time. So if you're someone like me and you start to fish the Delta or other places a lot, over time, you can start to see where'd I catch all those fish at. I mean, you got to stay up on marking, obviously, when you catch them. But like, a lot of times you're taking a photo anyways, might as well just click the button to mark the spot, so mapping apps, I think, are not technically fishing, but yeah. So Google Earth if you're a shore angler and mapping if you're a boat angler. Sorry.
Yep.
Didn't mean that.
Oh, no, that's a good point, because I use Garmin Active Captain on my phone, and it does a lot of the same things. I have the free version. There's a lot of other features that I don't have access to, but like I get the basic maps.
Yeah, that's even just basic maps is great. They're free. Use them.
Along with the top, like it shows the average water depth at a given spot. It shows the topography of the landscape underneath the water, so that you can see how far that point goes out and stuff like that. So it's pretty handy, but I don't pay for it. And this is in fact the only phone app that I pay for, and it's a whopping $9 a year, is an app called Bass Forecast. Now it does tell you like, hey, you should throw this or that or this. It doesn't get into like color specifics, but it'll say you should throw a square bill crankbait or a deep diver.
It's 73 degrees today. with 42% humidity. So Kevin Van Dam suggests that you throw the gizzard shad
Yeah.
in the KVD 1.5. Right? So that's
yeah. I don't use it for that function of it, but no, the reason I use the Bass Forecast app is because it takes all of those weather related things that impact fish, like the moon cycle. I guess that's not weather, but you know what I mean. The barometric pressure, the sunrise, sunset, the temperature, the water temperature trends, and puts that all together and gives kind of a rating for the day and whatever lake you want it to do. So it'll a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a potential of fish catching day is it? Is it a 3 and you should probably not waste your time, or is it a 9 and it's going to be an epic day? And I found that it's pretty accurate in my area, at least, as far as how active the fish really are. So hashtag not sponsored, but yeah, the Bass Forecast app, it's pretty cheap for, worth $9 a year to me, even if I don't use the bait suggestions.
That's pretty good for $9. That's less than $1 a month. I can get down with something like that. Yeah. I
can send you a code and it'll actually give you like $5 off.
Will you get a referral? Sweet.
I'll get $5 off my next re-up on the subscription, but cool. All right. Well, that was our question of the week. Again, don't forget to submit your question of the week in the comments below. Don't forget to enter this week's giveaway sponsored by 8-Bit Baits. Grab you one of those gift certificates that Michael has been so kind as to offer up for this week's giveaway. All the information on that, including run dates and draw dates, will be in the description below. We'll also include all of Michael's social media, websites, everything like that. Any way you want to find him, we'll put that all down there. But
I appreciate that.
We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we appreciate you for sticking through with us to the end. And as always, we will see you next time.
Good job, guys.